Hi guys, that's my best friend Shenielle.
And that's our best friend Janelle.
This week we are talking about the first time we got our period.
Guys, leave the room. This is a girl conversation today.
I hear about other people and their traumatic experiences. I didn't really have a traumatic experience.
You didn't?
No, not at all.
I surely did.
What's your traumatic experience? I don't know that. Have you ever talked about that? I don't know that you ever talked about that.
Right? I'm like thinking about yours. I'm like, I didn't even know when you got yours. Well, I got mine when I was in the 5th grade. There was actually a girl in my class, like, she just really looked a lot more mature than all the other girls. Like, she started developing her breasts first. You know, she ended up getting her period first. And I kind of, like, coveted it. Right? I know, ironic. But I was like, I want that. Like, I want to be able to. And I didn't know what I was wishing for, because God knows. She was the first. I was the second girl in our class to get our cycle. So I had went to the bathroom and, like, you know, been feeling crampy and achy and stuff. And I wasn't really following all the signs. We had just had, you know, the boys and girls life classes in our 5th grade, as far as, like, girls go through this, boys go through this. So, like, knowing what it was to be going through the growth development, I wanted it. I wanted to be able to know, like, I know what I was feeling on the inside, but I wanted to know, like, physically, like, I am maturing into a woman. I know, sounds real crazy, right? I know. Who knows why I even did this? For those who have been following us a while, you will know from one of our previous videos where we talk about sex, where my mom had kind of given me my rundown on what the sex talk was. So I was really afraid to discuss that with my mother, as far as, like, Mom, my body's going through these changes and I'm noticing. So she had picked me up from school one evening and we were in Publix. And just something wrong, you know, I felt like the difference.
The supermarket, for those of you who don't have that, because that's not all over the U.S.
That's true. Yeah. The supermarket. So I was feeling something very different in my undergarments, and I decided to go to the restroom at our local supermarket, and to my surprise, I saw red.
I can't.
I was mortified because I wasn't going to go talk to my mother about this, even though we're in the ideal place to get the proper things that we needed as a young lady. I was mortified to tell her, Mom, I'm on my period. It's here. I didn't want to tell her because she was going to split in two. How am I going to tell her this? So after we finally left and we went home and my whole stuff is getting messed up, and I'm like, well, what am I to do? Which is the most important, embarrassing part, the horrified, you know, that was where that came from. And yeah, I had to tell her. And then she was like, let's go to the bathroom. And I was like, what are you going to the bathroom with me for? She go to the bathroom, she's like, pull down your panties. I'm like, oh my God, you're going to pull down my panties. And of course she's like,
are you going to beat me?
You know, like, and she was like, yep, that's your period. Get in the shower, go shower, you know. And then she proceeded to tell me, you're a woman now. You know, you're there.
Why are you clapping?
Yeah, because it was just so embarrassing. Like, even now, just going back through it, memory lane, it's like, And she was like, you know, she checked me. She checked everything. She was like, my mother's a nurse. So, yeah. She kind of handed me a pad and she was like, you're on this journey. And then I was on the journey by myself. And that's kind of like how I, like, got my period. And then afterwards I was like, who wants this? This is the worst thing. Like, I would never forget the day that it came. I was like, you suck.
Sounds so traumatic.
Women!
Yeah, my story's not exciting. My story, like, I never even really had a talk about periods or anything like that. I don't even remember I think I had probably heard about it by that point in, like, human growth and development.
Exactly.
What did they call it? It was in high school. It was, like, a course where they were talking about, like, all the STDs and all that stuff.
I want to remember it, but I can't.
Forgot.
Yeah.
It was like life skills or something like that. I don't know. But
that's exactly what it was called.
Yeah, but I was late in getting mine as well. And I think it was like, I was like 15 when I first got mine. Like, it wasn't,
I was 11.
Yeah, it wasn't early at all. And I wasn't wishing for it or hoping for it or anything like that. And I was actually in the house with a bunch of my aunts when it happened. So, like, I went to the bathroom and I'm like, "Hey, yo, something's happening.
What's this?
Like, what's going on?" And they're like, "Oh, here, take a pad, do this." And I was just like, "Oh, okay." But the only thing that I can say is, like, the couple days beforehand, I really wasn't feeling well. But it wasn't, like, major. Whereas, like, years after, like, in the beginning when I used to get it, it was fairly, it didn't bother me as much as other people. And then years later, it started getting worse and more intense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wasn't too bothered when I first got it. It was like, "Oh, okay, this is happening. Cool." But it wasn't like a discussion. It wasn't anything. It was just like, okay, so this is something now.
Yep. And I kind of think that, like, along the way, I've met other women who their experience isn't maybe as easygoing as ours. Like,
I hear, like, horror stories.
Yeah.
Like, oh, and I was at school and everybody made fun of me and my whole pants were red and da-da-da. And I'm like, I don't know. I never saw that actually happen in school. I just hear stories.
I did. I've seen one person. And then I felt horrible. You see, I've always been that person, though, that when people make fun of other people, I stand up for them. And you're going to be fighting her and I. You feel me? So
I just remember that there was one time that I was wearing, like, light colored pants and I had a pad on and, like, people were like, "Oh, we see your pad." And I was like, "Oh, really? I don't. Okay. Moving on."
Oh, I need it. But definitely, I've heard other stories along the way where, I mean, I'm in school with these ladies and they are rolling in pain. They are screaming at the top of their lungs in pain because of, and they literally explain it as, like, every cycle would be gradually worse, like pains, to the point where, I mean, later down the line in high school, they were being hospitalized. And it was something that their parents, their mother or aunts experienced, where every cycle they were in the hospital.
Well, that's a condition. That's not just regular periods. That's like endometriosis.
See, I didn't know that was.
So, for those of you who don't know about that, because I feel like these conversations aren't had enough with women, and so you get up to your, like, 20s, and then you start figuring stuff out. If you're having, like, severe pain, and I mean like, it's not just cramping and you feel crappy and you want to just roll up in blankets and eat chocolate. Like, if you're in some serious severe pain every single time that you get your period, you probably want to get checked for endometriosis.
What is that? Like, what's going on?
Oh, I mean, I don't have it. I can't really entirely tell you, but I think it's something to do with, like, the ovaries or the tubes or something, where it's, like, scarring and tissue and I don't know. I mean, I'm not a doctor. Google that. Look that up. But it's a condition. It's not normal. It's not like you shouldn't be feeling, like, excruciating pain every time you get your period. Of course there's cramping. Of course there's pain. Of course you feel crappy. Of course you feel under the weather. Like, that's normal. Of course you have your mood swings. You have your food cravings. Those things are normal. Anyway, so that's our story or stories about the first time we got our period. Mine was not eventful whatsoever. And
I was scared. to tell my mama.
We still dreading getting our periods. Yay, womanhood.
Give me a high five if you're with us.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, give us a like if you're with us on that one, okay? You don't like getting your cycle like that.
Neither do we.
I want to ask the mothers out there, the mothers of young ladies specifically, like, what are some things that you have discussed with your daughter? Like, do you have any plans, preparations to discuss getting your period or talking about sex with your children?
She's looking for help because Shenielle and I are about to have this talk with Chanel's daughter.
Yeah. Yay.
I think we got it though.
I do.
But
we definitely want to hear your input, want to hear your advice so that we could let her know, as well as other children, nieces down the road.
How much do you talk about?
Like, what do you leave out? What do you say? Like, what are your tactics? Any creativeness? Like, let us know. Comment down below. Also, like, share this video with other mothers, other sisters, other nieces, daughters. Young ladies. And we want to hear. We're a ladies community. Let's get together. Let's get this conversation going, guys.
Hit the bell. Come back next week, either Wednesday or Thursday, for another video so you can see our beautiful faces. That's our best friend, Shenielle.
And that's our best friend, Janelle.
Cheers.
Peace.
She finna, your best friend, that's my best friend, that's my best friend, that's my best friend, that's you better.
Your smile looks so plastic. You look like a mannequin.
You're like...